This is why you should always listen to what your children are saying. Grady Hendrix, who is an American horror novelist, stated in 2019 that he witnessed an absolute terrifying occurrence as a child. When Grady was 9 years old, he took up the practice of sneaking downstairs and taking the leftovers out of the fridge after the rest of his family had gone to sleep. He didn't switch any lights on when he snuck from his bedroom to downstairs to where the kitchen was. He didn't want to draw any attention from his parents. He would navigate his way slowly in the dark, trying not to make a noise. Then in 1981, when he was making his usual trip downstairs to the kitchen to get that midnight snack, he was stopped dead in his tracks when the sounds of a fork scratching across the countertop could be heard. This shocked him as he felt that he was caught by his dad, but he quickly realized it wasn't his dad. Grady saw the outline of a figure in the microwave clock's light. The man sat at the kitchen counter, peacefully eating leftovers and drinking milk from a carton. And surprisingly, the man didn't see Grady, so he hurried upstairs to notify his parents. When his parents came hurrying downstairs to see what was going on, the man wasn't there. And when they noticed that there was no one downstairs, they looked at Grady and told him that he was reading too many horror comics and that he needed to go back upstairs and get to bed. At this point, Grady was a little frustrated that his parents didn't believe him, so he began keeping note of where specific things were kept in the kitchen to ensure that he was telling the truth. But it didn't take long that he learned that the napkin holder had been moved around the kitchen overnight, and that one time he ended up discovering a mug in the sink that hadn't been there the night before. One night, Grady was in his room reading a book in his bed. He had the sensation to look up, and when he did, he saw the air conditioning vent over his bed. That's when he saw what looked like eyes looking down at him through that vent. Then all of a sudden, something moved behind that vent. At that moment, Grady knew right then and there that he was being watched through that vent. Grady, in a panic, ran to his parents and told him what had happened and demanded that they go into his room, inspect the attic and the crawl space of the house. And when they did, they didn't find anything that looked out of place. So once again, his parents suspected that it was probably Grady's childhood imagination making up these things because of these horror comic books that he was reading. Not many days later, Grady was in his room and he saw what appeared to be grains spilled across his bed. He bent down to get a closer look, and immediately he noticed it wasn't grains at all, it was maggots. And it was pretty obvious that they had dropped from the vent above his bed. Again, in a panic, Grady ran to his parents and demanded that they inspect the event that was in his room, and he wanted them to believe him and what he had saw. And sure enough, when they inspected that vent, they could see that there was a deceased man laying on a foam pad inside that vent space, which is thought where this man would lay there and watch Grady through that vent. The man's identity was never revealed. That does it for today's video. Hit that thumbs up. Peace, I love you, and as always, God bless.